Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Learn with Anirudh, and this one is going to be an absolutely fantastic one because you guys are curious enough to understand what a data scientist exactly does. Lot of you all are willing to get into data science, but there is not a lot of clarity about what is the exact task that a data scientist can do. There are a lot of technical terms that gets thrown around which might confuse you, and as always, if there's any confusing concept, I am here to simplify it for you. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. So let's begin this quick episode by understanding what it is to have a career in data science first of all. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest advantage of having a career in data science is that you're going to be in the forefront of all the new technologies, all the upcoming technologies. You guys will be the first ones to actually use it in your research, use it in your application, and whenever there's a new version of a library, new version of Python or anything as such, you guys will be the first people to actually get towards using that if you have a career in data science. The best part about being ahead by making use of all of these latest technologies, tools, and techniques is for a fact that you will also have really rapid progress in your career. Now, there are many job descriptions out there are many job roles wherein you will find that you get bored in the job. You find that you are actually not progressing quick enough in terms of salaries, in terms of learning, or whatever it is. Now, that will not happen here because this is a domain which is very fast paced. You are supposed to catch up with it, and once you start catching up and once you keep up with it, trust me, it's going to be a ride that you're going to absolutely love. And it's not just that. I have met a lot of people who are working in many other domains who find that they are bored with their current job, and some of them find their jobs really easy. That will get you to be bored, and you will eventually not like your job anymore because you're in your comfort zone. Guess what? Having a career in data science will not have any room for that because here it is pretty intellectually challenging as well. So, if you're a person who loves solving problems, who loves challenges, trust me, you're gonna love a career in data science. And the best part here is that as a data scientist myself, I can definitely tell you that the outcomes you have will be very satisfying. Even though you will be one person working on a very large project in a team of maybe 200 or 300 people, your contribution to that project is going to be a lot. So at the end of the day, if you ask yourself a question saying, hey, what am I doing? What is my contribution to a large company, to a large product? The answer is going to be very impressive for you all if you're a person who looks towards outcome based education, if you're a person who looks towards outcome based career as well. You're going to have a ton of fun, and these 4 points really you have to keep in your mind. You talk to any data scientist, they are going to agree on all 4 points that I just mentioned. So here's an important part that we have to discuss is the challenge that you guys will face in the domain of data science. The biggest advantage is that in the year 2020 and 2021, the number of data science jobs actually grew by 10 times. Yes, first of all, we had a ton of jobs here. Regardless of where you are in the world, there were a lot of jobs, correct? You will agree to this. Now there are 10 times the amount of jobs there were. Absolutely beautiful news. But the not so interesting part here is that you have a lot of competition as well. People have access to these jobs, and the access to these data science jobs has grown by 100 times. So at the end of the day, you have a tighter competition that you have to face with. And I'm very sure you have friends, colleagues, and everyone who's saying, hey, there's a lot of money in data science, there's a lot of interest in data science. Data science is the new trend. I want to go do data science stuff, right? You might have heard this, I bet. And at the end of the day, the competition will now stand 1,000 times of what it was. Even though it seems like these numbers are blown way out of proportion, let me tell you it is not. It's a very simple calculation. If your jobs have grown 10 times, if the interest has grown 100 times, just multiply those two numbers. That is what your new competition is. So it is super competitive right now, and it becomes key for you to understand exactly what a data scientist does to figure out if this domain is for you or not. So, what does a data scientist do? As always, let's take up examples to figure this out. Let's not talk about any complex technical terms which might confuse you. First of all, as a data scientist, here's a question. A client or your manager comes to you and says, hey, here is the sales data from all of our shops, all of our offline shops. Can you analyze what are we doing wrong? So there's a good chance that you sold 20 mobile covers last month and this month you only sold 2. So there is something that went wrong. Either people are not liking your mobile covers, or people are not looking for the trend, or there is a very different trend where people do not want to go buy the classic phone covers anymore. So when a person asks a data scientist this question, he or she will have the answer ready to it, because as a data scientist, you're a person who will be finding the trends and the patterns that are hidden in the data to give extremely valuable insights based on whatever it is that you found. Now, finding trends and patterns, you can say that, hey, everyone can do that, right? Not really. Even when you look at the data for a data scientist himself, I can tell you that it is not visible clearly to the naked eye. If I give you a Microsoft Excel sheet filled with thousands of rows and columns of data, and if I just say, hey, analyze, it's going to be very difficult. But as a data scientist, you will have the skills to find out the certain trends that are present, find out what patterns are there, and eventually using these trends and patterns, you can say, hey, this is exactly the reason why people are not buying your phone covers anymore. So fix this, and there's a very good chance that your problem will be solved. Doing this, having this ability is very important for a data scientist, and deriving insights from data, that is a very critical skill to have as a data scientist. The next skill is that, let's just say now it's Christmas season, now it's almost New Year's, we are almost headed to the month of December. So all the companies, all the small business out there, they would be concerned about the amount of stock they should have. Think about chocolates, think about sweaters. If a company has bought 1,000 sweaters that they want to sell, last year they might have sold 1,200, so this year they think that they will sell more, so they'll buy 1,500. But as soon as the season starts, they're not selling as much as they thought. They might have sold only 300 or 400. So to find out what is the exact amount of sweaters that they have to buy for the next season, how much should they stock up for the next winter season, they're going to go to a data scientist and they're going to ask the exact same question. Why a data scientist? Because a data scientist has the capability to create data models which can predict what happens in the future. Now, there aren't a lot of domains, there aren't a lot of job roles that can tell you that, hey, I can predict the future based on data. And it is not just random guesses that you do, you have accurate numbers and accurate predictions for that. So, as a data scientist, you can not only predict what is going on in the present or what is going wrong in the past, but you can take the past data, you can have the present data, and you can also forecast what happens in the future. Well, either should the sweater company buy 1,000 sweaters, should they buy 2,000, should they buy 10,000, there's a very good chance the data scientist can give a very strong analytical based answer, a data based answer, and not just a random guess. This is going to be an important skill to have, because if you're a person who can use the data and predict the future based on that, people will definitely be interested in hiring you. And no wonder a data scientist role is called as the sexiest job role of the 21st century. Now take a look at the next thing a data scientist does. Let's say that there's a company who's selling a lot of products, be it Amazon, be it Flipkart, or any one of these guys, and they get thousands and thousands of reviews for the products they sell, correct? So if you're a person who is actually selling the product, you would want to understand what is going on. Are people liking your product? Are people suggesting certain changes? Are people absolutely not liking it, saying, hey, the quality of this is bad, the delivery of the product is bad, something like that? So you would go to a data scientist, because here in this case as well, a data scientist has the capability to use machine learning to improve the product quality. Now, running through hundreds of thousands of reviews or even millions of reviews by making use of concepts such as sentiment analysis is going to be very, very simple for a data scientist. Not only can you find out what went wrong in the past, not only can you figure out what's wrong in the present, you can also predict the future. And in this case, you can use all of these data to actually find out how it is that you can improve the product. Now, if there's a new mobile phone in the market, there's a lot of review that will go on, right? Thousands of people will write reviews. Some of them might say, hey, the camera is bad. Some of them might say the storage is not enough. So once you find millions of reviews like this, or even thousands of reviews, you can categorize them and take it to the employer. You can take it to your client, take it to the person selling the product to say, hey, this is what people are saying about your product. This is how you should improve your product to have better sales and put your product out there for people to enjoy. Isn't that fantastic? Now, if that is impressive, take a look at the next question here. So a company will tell you, hey, we figured out how to improve our shopping site. So we have a very nice e-commerce website that we're using. We have set it up. And now, even though we found ways of how we can improve it, can you communicate this to the rest of the team? Now, why would they come to a data scientist to ask him or her to communicate something to the team? This is very important because a data scientist is a person, all his career, all her career, they would have been very much involved in finding the simplest way to communicate something to another team. Because a data scientist in many cases will not work standalone. You'll be working with a data engineering team, you'll be working with a data visualization team, a business intelligence team, and so on. So in that particular case, you will be tuned to find out the simplest ways of how you can communicate something to another team member. So in that case, whenever there are any big changes, if you talk to a data scientist, if you talk to a senior data scientist, they will definitely agree to my point, saying that yes, we will have the ability to break really complex things into very simple chunks and eventually convey it to your manager, convey it to your client, convey it to your team member, whatever is necessary at that moment of time. And it's not just communication. When it comes to innovation as well, data scientists are leading. So of course, as a data scientist, you'll be working on a lot using Python programming, correct? We discussed this in one of our previous episodes. So as soon as, let's say, there's a new library that has come out in Python and that will help you solve a problem faster, who do you think will be the first person to get their hands dirty and to take a look at it and to figure out if it can work in the favor of their organization, in the favor of their project or not? A data scientist. Why? Because as a data scientist, you will be one of the key members out there to keep your company, keep your organization on top of all the innovations that happen in data science. This is easier said than done because, especially in the domain of data science, there is always a tool, there is always a technique that is trending, and there is no end to that. You will never find stagnation, you will never find a plateau in the amount of innovation that goes on in the world of data science. So as a data scientist, this person also should have the capability to find out what are the latest and the greatest tools and techniques out there, and not just find them out, but find out how it is that you can use them if that matters, right? So this is very, very important. And here is a quick look at all the 5 points that we just discussed. A data scientist is responsible for finding the trends and the patterns that are hidden in the data to provide very good insights. This is the data that is, past data and the present data at hand. And using this data, look at the second point, this person will also have the ability to create data models which will forecast what happens in the future. Now, I bet all of you all are already using products which are basically forecasting the future outcomes. Open your mobile phone right now. Can you or can you not find out what is the weather like tomorrow morning? You can. That is a prediction, right? It is not tomorrow, it is still today. Yet you can find out what the weather is like tomorrow. And that is literally you using data right now and predicting what happens in the future. And all of this is done by using a mix of machine learning, by using a mix of deep learning neural networks. And it is not just predicting future outcomes. You can also use these techniques, these skill sets that a data scientist has to eventually improve product quality and have a very good communication skill as well. You can be an amazing data scientist, but it will not add value to the company if you cannot be a team player, if you cannot communicate your results to a lot of other people. Now, you are a data scientist, your manager is not. There's a very good chance your co founder is not a data scientist, your client is not a data scientist. So, when you have to explain how it is that you have solved the problem, even though you could solve the problem well, if you cannot explain it well, people will find it very difficult to work with you. So that is where communications and recommendations are super, super important. And at the end of the day, this is a domain that is leading the computer science industry today. The world of information technology is being led by data science, in my opinion. And I believe that as a data scientist, you will have the ability to be a top innovator regardless of the company that you work for, be it a startup, be it a multinational corporation. If you're involved in data science, you will have satisfying outcomes. You'll be a part of a very big deal. You will have a very big say in the projects that you'll work on. And that's not the only thing that's big. You'll also have a very large salary because a data scientist earns one of the biggest packages, one of the biggest salaries that any role offers in today's world. So, isn't that absolutely fascinating? So let's take a second to quickly wrap up our discussion here. Now, if you're a person who watched through the entire episode, thank you so much for watching. You might have a question, you might have a doubt in your head right now saying, hey, even data analysts find patterns in data and they find new ways to improve the company and help them take better decisions, correct? So, is there no difference between a data analyst and a data scientist? No, there are differences between a data analyst and a data scientist. So, when a data analyst works for a particular project, he or she will already know the outcome and the goal that they have to work on. They will say, here's the data set, give me the solution to this data set. They will say, here's the problem, give me the solution to the problem, and the data analysts are working on that. But data scientists are different. They have a lot more responsibilities in a way where they have to ask their own questions in terms of data. And eventually, who do you think are the ones who are going to find the answer to those questions? Themselves, right? So, a data scientist will be spending a lot of time asking questions, figuring it out, using new methodologies, be it machine learning models, new algorithms, new neural network techniques, or something like that to actually figure out what is going on. Not just this, a data analyst is involved in thoroughly analyzing the data, yes, but a data scientist will also help in implementing advanced programming concepts and bringing a new horizon, bringing the new possibility of using better tools, better techniques into the team. And not just the idea of bringing these new tools and techniques, he or she will be a person who will actually bring it, use it, implement it, and make sure that it is working. So, no, a data analyst and a data scientist are not same. There's a very good chance a data scientist can do everything that a data analyst can do, but a data analyst might not be able to do everything a data scientist does. I'm not saying that data scientist's role is better than data analyst's role. Of course, both are equally important. Both are very nice roles to get into. Since we're talking about data science role, it is very important for me to champion this and to give you complete clarity about what happens there. So, as always, even though you might think that all of these are really complex, now you have had a chance to understand what it is exactly that a data scientist does in a simplified manner. And when you're talking about all those advanced programming concepts that data scientists bring in, I am here to simplify all of those advanced programming concepts so that you guys can be on your way to becoming data scientists yourself. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all your support. It means a lot to me. And of course, with your subscription, I can help a lot more students, a lot more learners like you learn all of these concepts in an easy fashion. So do take a second. If you enjoyed the content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, showcase your support. That way I can get my content to more people just like you who are also looking forward to learn. Well, guys, with this, thank you so much for tuning in. Head to the comment section if you have any suggestions, any feedback, or any content requests. I would love to bring you content on the exact topics that you guys are finding it difficult. So head to the comment section and let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out there. Well, guys, on that note, have a nice day and I'll see you super quick on the next episode of Learn with Anirudh. So thank you so much for tuning in.